中意開車嘅香港人通常都會覺得歐洲同埋美國先至係玩車嘅天堂，但係點解呢一個對車情有獨鐘嘅德國人，反而會喺香港住足47年，而且開車開足47年呢？
I came to Hong Kong as a Volkswagen and Porsche engineer to work with the local Volkswagen and Porsche agent in 1965. I saw some movies about Asia and William Holden, Jennifer Johnson. Love is a many splendid thing, you know. And then I saw The World of Susie Wong, and I thought that interested me to live in this area.
Hurbert 唔單止係工程師，佢響70年代仲參加過 Formula、GT 車同埋跑車共冶一爐嘅澳門格蘭披治喎。
Then I won the sports GT car race in 1971. Then I was asked if I wanted to take part in the Grand Prix. So then traditionally I took part in the Grand Prix, but I was always at the back of the grid. But in 1975. I came third in the Grand Prix. It was raining very heavily in the 1975 Grand Prix, and a lot of cars crashed and a lot of cars dropped out. And with the Porsche, I was having better handling and better road holding, so I ended up in third place.
聽完佢嘅歷史，我最有興趣反而係問佢喺香港40幾年以嚟佢嘅心水選擇同埋最驚險嘅故事。
Had a 1973 a Porsche Carrera 2.7, and it was a lightweight model, and it was one of very few right-hand drive lightweight models. Of course, purists who know the importance of a 73 Carrera ducktail 2.7, they will cringe when they hear that I just had no respect for the car at all. I just turned it into what I needed to do to make it a winning car for Macau. Looking back now, and then of course later I sold it, and looking back now I wish I hadn't done it, because it cost me at the time 60,000 Hong Kong dollars, and it would be worth probably 2 million Hong Kong dollars today. That was the car that I remember I cherished the most, because it was my earliest sports car in Hong Kong. And the K70, if you look it up, was a car that was a deviation from what Volkswagen built in the earlier days, which was all air-cooled rear engines, rear boxer engines, and it was the first one with a front-wheel drive inline four-cylinder engine, and it was a disaster. It was a disaster because they were completely unreliable, and their values dropped tremendously after a few years. So that was a car which I would probably register as the worst car that I had in those days.
Hurbert 佢落過澳門，而且佢喺香港擁有過50-60部車，咁多經驗，唔知佢有冇試過喺香港炒車呢？
When I was driving through Cheung Sawan on a busy Sunday morning, on the way to a motorsports event, and I was driving a Beetle, and I was crossing. I'm driving through an intersection, and there were a lot of people standing on either side waiting for the traffic to clear, and one elderly gentleman who looked like a hawker decided to run right in front of me, and he landed on my front hood. And the Beetle front hood is designed for a soft impact, and he landed up on my front hood, and then we looked at each other through the windscreen, and then he slid. I stopped, of course, and then he slid gently down the hood, stood up in front of the car, shook himself off, and ran away. So that was the only accident that I can remember where a person was involved, and he wasn't hurt. He was just shocked.
作為德國人，會唔會覺得喺香港開車一無是處呢？
If you drive the Clearwater Bay Road, right down to Clearwater Bay Beach, to the Clearwater Bay Country Club, that's a nice winding road, and I drive that occasionally early in the morning when I go to the country club at Clearwater Bay to play tennis. There's nobody else on the road, and it's very nice to drive along that.
年過70嘅 Hurbert， 佢載咗我一程，佢手車快到無倫，兼且定個台油。青春嘅秘密係啲乜嘢？咪就係揸多啲車咯〜